Hello folks, welcome to the Night Sky Imaging YouTube channel. My name is Edward Overstreet and I'm imaging the sun again for the third day in a row. Let's go outside and I'll try to keep from smacking my lips. And in order to do this, I'm going to need to share my screen. Okay, here we be. Yesterday when I took a time lapse, I was focusing on this area. Don't need any calls right now. And I want to get rid of this reticle. And I want to get rid of this. But I was looking at this part of the sun. I'm going to move it, no, wrong way. And let's go down just a little bit. It's wrong way again. And the reason for this kind of a framing was I had the proms. I had this activity right here. So that was pretty cool. So what we're going to be doing in the next video is we're going to process this. This is a live stream today. And it's this area was really probably here yesterday, and as the sun rotates, it's moved more out of being a real contender for an imaging reference. This has popped up though, and there's 5 sunspots, 6 sunspots, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 3 little ones, 7, 8, 9, one growing there, 10. So that's a real region of interest, and kind of watch that. Hopefully I'll have some time tomorrow possibly to do a time lapse. Today it's impossible because there's a thin haze of clouds overhead, and actually I was going to go live last night. I scheduled to go live at 10 to do some imaging of the pelican and the elephant trunk with 2 different rigs, imaging both of them at the same time. And the skies were ice blue, crystal clear yesterday while I did this time lapse. By 10 o'clock, I was souped in, and so I canceled that live stream, which would have been a total waste of time. And I ended up shooting, put my flat panel on, I reshot my flats. By the way, if you have a Newtonian, don't shoot flats during the daytime because light comes in and creates a ugly looking artifact on your flats that's not realistic. Shoot your flats at night if you have a Newtonian. I learned that the hard way. But I shot flats and then I shot darks all night long, and I just took advantage of the night sky being cloudy and just shot 30, 60 seconds, 120 seconds, 180 seconds. I shot 7 hours of flats and some bias and some flat darks. And I did that for both the Vixen and the Newtonian, the ASI 533 monochrome and the ASI 1600 monochrome. So I've got a whole new inventory of flats, and that's a good thing. As a matter of fact, I'll go to, these are my last night flats dark flats. And so I got a whole new set of both of them. All right, let's go back outside, and I thought we'd just take a look at the sun and take a few pictures to process, and then I'm going to work on my time lapse from yesterday and do a recorded time lapse video because it will take time for Autostakkert, for ImPPG, and for all of those things to go through process. It's impossible unless you want to spend 8 hours. It's impossible to do a live stream of that time lapse processing you got to go ahead and get some of the processes done before you can do that. Now, I've already done Autostakkert, so I let that run all night. Or I started it last night and it ran for about 4 hours, I'm sure, to process. Did like 286 videos. I had to delete a bunch out of 300. So at any rate, we're going to be working on that. This is a thin haze. It's kind of covering up my sun now. But let's knock off 1,000. And since I'm only doing one image, and since I have a thin haze, I'm going to take 1,000 frames. And hopefully out of that I'll have maybe 100 frames, 10%. I'll keep, maybe I'll have 100 that will have some contrasty features. And let's move south. Oh, it's awful. Yep, it's pointless really. It's a good time to take flats. Let's move south, and this also run up the exposure and see if we got anything on the rim. Nah. So there's no part here to image. You can see, I don't know if it shows up on YouTube, but there's just clouds moving overhead and look like waves of high clouds. There's a little bump on the rim. Oop. By the time I get the hang of the direction on the remote hand controller, the sun transits, and I gotta adapt to that. All right. There's no, oh, we got a, well, that looks pretty promising. Let's see, we've got to bring our exposure down because we've got, well, there's that region of activity. Had about 10 spots. Curious to see if there's anything on the rim. I think there is from, oh yeah, up here. This will be active. This has looked like this for a day, maybe 2 days. So I don't know what's going on. There's not a lot of movement. It's just been that. And but this is relatively new in the last couple, 3 hours. I took 2 hours. I got out here really early when the sun when I first could see the sun over rooftops. And this wasn't here. This was. This hadn't changed. This is all relatively new. I think. I don't think I remembered seeing it. But this might make some, yeah, it'd be hard to get it all in because that 10 area, that 10 sunspot area is going to be cropped out if I don't get a perfect, if I'm not able to align these perfectly. Nice little filament. But the filament of all filaments is still this piece of work right here. And this is a doozy. You can see it rises above the surface, and it is a doozy. It's like a mountain range. Another one down here is pretty pronounced too. I tell you what, let's just do this. And do we have any? Yeah, let's just take a picture of this while we can. And all right, let's knock off 1,000. And then I'm going to take some flats. Then we're going to process a couple of these. And I'm going to show you a new processing technique. All right, we're done. So let's go the right way, which is right. I've got this set at 16 times sidereal. I've got this one set at 8 times, so let's use 16 and move quicker. Okay, let's see what our histogram looks like. Oh, that's what I want, the histogram. And we want to center about the center for our flats. And now let's get our scope controls and let's defocus out. You can go in or out about 1,000 frames. And we're going to change this so to flat. And let's take, we don't need but 500. Done. Let's take another. You see the banding. Let's take another. Okay, because I am probably finished imaging the sun, I'm going to go ahead and park the scope. And so let's make sure it's parking. And we'll go outside and see. Yeah, I hear it. It's coming around. It's this one over here. It's the furthest away. This was the Newtonian and the Vixen, and I did my flats. All right, we can close the camera. We can close Sharp Cap. And let's, we can actually turn this off. And we'll disconnect the power from the mount. So now let's bring up Autostakkert. I do have the slowest laptop and connected as my planetary. We're going to our external hard drive, and today is the 20th. And let's take care of our flats first. Let's bring one in and create our master flat. There it is. And all you do once you create your master flat is you load it, you go up to image, and you go create master flat. Let's find an appropriate place to put it. We'll go to 620 flats, and we're just going to tag this as master flat and save it. And it is saving it. See these spots? Vignetting down here, spots. Well, it's going to remove those prayerfully. So now let's open an image, and let's go to solar. Let's go to the last one. I think the last one I had, yeah. Let's use, I'm going to hold down the control key on a Mac, and I'm going to use this as the reference. And we're going to make sure surface improve tracking. I didn't really need that, but I'll leave it. Takes a little longer. Noise robust. I had the gain ran up to, I'm going to raise this to 6. And on the size, we're going to analyze. And I want to see what kind of quality I got. And if it looks decent, then we'll add our master flat and get rid of that nonsense. You can actually add your master flat before you analyze. I don't, as a rule. Also, this is uh, a monochrome camera, so I don't want to have to go through the step of converting to RGB. Oh, this is terrible. This isn't really a good reading, but I'm going to go up to color and I'm going to put force RGB. You can pick any one you want. Just pick one of the force. It doesn't matter since it's a monochrome, but if you put auto detect, you'll pick up black and white. And you can't use RGB or gray. Well, you could use grayscale, but just click on force RGB, and then all these images will be RGB, and then you can colorize them without having to make the conversion. Just saves you a step. All right, let's just place some align points. I'm going to use 104 pixels, and there evidently is no data to put line points there. I know there is, and let's use 10% of 1,000, which would be 100. That's a gracious plenty. And let's run this. While that's running, let's bring up ImPPG. And I'm going to show you a new processing possibility you might want to try. I'm mixed emotions about it. I'll probably, we can go ahead and we don't need to be looking outside now. Although you did see the clouds. Let's go back to Autostakkert and see where we are. A slow computer. If I was recording this, I'd put this on hold. But one of the cool things about real time, any screw ups, you get to see them. They can't be edited out. And everybody makes screw ups in processing. I sure do. My problem is memory. Let's say I have 2 or 3 or 4 weeks where I just can't image because the clouds or rain or whatever. It's just no night's a good night, or no day's a good day, or other things are going on and I don't have the time. I'll boot up when I get a clear sky and I think, well, now what did I do the last time I did this? And I forget some of the things, and back to YouTube trying to find the answers, or back to Google. Fix Insight. I think I got it now, but it's been 7 years. But oh, lordy, lordy. The first time I would pick up a workflow, and then it might be a week before I could image again. And oh, daggone, it would be, I forgot I left that step out. So, checklist, have process icons, save them. Okay, this was actually what the quality graph looked like, but the nature of my little block didn't let it. The whole image was taken into consideration as opposed to that little reference block, which showed bad. So, all right, we're done with this. Let's go to ImPPG and we'll look at another possible workflow. So we're going to open the where are we? June 20th, and we did solar and 10%, and we should have one image, and we do. Now it's probably going to work on this one. Let's even go. Okay. I've got a streaming box that's right in my way here. I'm going to get that out of the way. Okay, I'm going to go up to edit, and I'm going to select and process all, and that will get rid of this smaller reference box. You can make the reference box as big as you want. You can put it wherever you want to tweak your sharpening settings. And this is what we're doing. We're going to run a curves, And as long as you have a box, the only pixels you're going to see are the pixels that are in this box. You can watch the histogram change when you create a different box. So there's where all your pixels are. So by selecting all, you get the dark pixels, or you could do a box where you have half and half, and you got the dark pixels. But it's just much easier to see your whole image and wait, because it takes a little longer for all the processes to do their thing, particularly on this slow computer. Now, I really need to get this out of the way so we can see what's going on the rim. So typically what I do is I wait till this histogram comes down, I make a reference point, and then I drag this up. And that reveals the proms. And then I tweak the rest of this. Oh, look at this thing bubbling up here. I tweak the rest of this in order to bring out the rest of it. But we're going to try something different, because I'm going to shoot now, instead of having a white sky, let's have a black sky. And in order to do that, we're going to reset our histogram, and we're going to drag this down and this up. And we're going to have to drag this up. We're going to probably have to start dragging this up. But we don't have our proms yet, and we got to get those. Because they are there. All right. And this is where you start playing around with your histogram. And let's say that I like that. I'm going to move my deconvolution up to a pretty exaggerated level. I'm going to go up, probably no higher than 2.9. I'm watching the rim here to make sure I don't get an additional line of shows me I've over sharpened. But there's more stuff coming out there, and that's pretty cool. Let's go a little more. So, whether you want to have a dark sky or you want to have a bright sky, that's just a matter of preference. But by doing that curve that way, you still have sunspots that are dark, and the white areas are white. If you do the inversion, then the white areas become dark and the dark areas become white, and that isn't what's going on. So either one of those curves is fine. Do you know what I forgot to do? That's insanity. There's my dust spots. So let's just close out of this, and let's clear this. Look at our dust spots. Let's add our calibration frame and add master flat. And that was from yesterday. No, that's today. Watch the sunspots go away. Bingo. So now we have a clean, pretty clean. So let's run another analysis. Let's bring lost my curves. And it's where I buried it down here somewhere. Huh. Well, it's not behind, so where'd it go? That's interesting. Let's see if there's a reset up on, I know there's a reset here, a reset here, and let's see, tools. Oh, there it is. Okay, that's a good lesson I just learned for me. Under settings, we can reset the tone curve window. Didn't know I could lose it. So, all right, we now have, by adding that flat, I don't know why we have a better quality graph. We're going to keep 10% still. We're going to do an alignment grid of 104, a box of 104 pixels by 104 pixels. They say the more boxes, the better. But I've watched Emil, the founder of this Craig Camp, do this, and honestly, when he put his boxes up, he'd put one there, one there, one there, one there, one there. He'd find points, and he didn't put a mess of them up. He might add a smaller point. He might add a couple bigger, and then he would stack. And there's a video that Woodland Hills put out where they had Emil, the founder, go through how to set up Autostakkert, and I learned more watching his video. I think if you contacted Woodland Hills Camera out in LA, send them and ask them where that YouTube was, or maybe you can just Google Woodland Hills YouTube Sharp Cap, and I'm sure it's online. But it's a real good video on how to use this. All right, so we have our new, I don't want to say, our second TIFF, and this one has, it's this one that we want. And this should have the, yeah, this has the crud removed. So we're going to go back to select all. And again, we're not going to use invert. If we did, you see what we're doing. We're making the dark white and the white dark. And you can do that, and you can tweak this and bring out the dark sky, and you can get your proms. But it's just a funky different look, and I don't like it at all. So I'm going to reset, but you can play around with it. It's each to their own, and this curve's too big for, it's a little smaller. All right, let's do the white sky. And that's looking pretty good there. And we'll drag this out to add some, we're not going any further than that. We may even add a little sharpening because it looks like it can stand it. Pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good. So I really think I like this better. But then you need to go ahead and colorize it, and you're going to see, I'm going to do that in the time lapse, but I went ahead and decided to do it with the black sky in the time lapse. So I'm pretty sure that's what I'm going to end up doing. But at any rate, let's reset this. And let's bring this up. Oh, about there. Let's bring this down. To about there. Let's bring this up. We're still back with our this is tricky. Okay, I think I've lost some of my I don't mind a little glow, orange glow, because this is going to be an orange glow, but I want to have a little more definition on my proms. And again, it's suit to taste. And down here now, I don't want to lose that. This seems to be a harder fix for me. This is, I've got to find out, figure out what you just have to figure out where on your line this information is. It's going to be on the bright side because it's brighter, and dumb it down so it becomes a challenge. So at any rate, folks, have fun with ImPPG. We're going to close out of this. I'm going to sign off for now and start working on the time-lapse video, and that will be my next video sometime, hopefully today, because I want to see what it turned out to be like. And so look for that uploading sometime this afternoon. What time is it? Yeah, sometime this afternoon after lunch. All right, with that being said, catch you later.